Okay, 7.7, geometric sequences as exponential functions, review number 1. So, in order to go ahead and calculate this, first off, I need you guys to go ahead and be able to try to do this yourself first. If not, here we go. I got 2a to the third b squared. I have to distribute. That would be b to the 6. Side by side, I can connect those b's, and that would be b to the 8. Number 11. Distribute the 3 to everything. So that's negative 4 to the third, x to the third, y to the third. Then I have negative 2 to the third, x to the 6th. So 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 would be 64, but there's 3 of them, so it would be negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, which is negative 64. x3, y3, negative 2 to the third would be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is negative 8, x to the 6th. Negative 64 times negative 8, so negative 64 times negative 8 gives me 512. So that's 512. X to the 3, x to the 6 becomes x to the 9, y to the third. Number 12. Distribute the 2. That's negative 3 squared. J to the 4, k to the 6. 2 to the third, j to the 6, k to the third. That would give me 9, j to the 4, k to the 6, times 8, j to the 6, k to the third. My front numbers are 9 and 8, so that would be 72. J to the 10, k to the 9. Number 13. 25 to the third, a to the 6, b to the third. 1/5 squared, a squared, b squared, f squared. So I distributed. 25 to the third would give me 15625. A to the 6, b to the third. 1/5 squared would give me 1 over, because 1 squared over 5 squared, which is 25. So that would be 1 over 25. A squared, b squared, f squared. Front number, so I'm going to multiply this by 1 over 25. That gives me 625. A6, a squared becomes a to the 8. B3, b2 becomes b to the 5. And then f squared stays. Number 14. 2 squared, x squared, y squared. Negative 3 times x squared. Sorry, I shouldn't have written it like that, but I did. And 4y to the 4th. 2 squared becomes 4. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 times 4 is negative 48. So I multiplied my front number. X squared. X squared becomes x to the 4. Y squared, y to the 4 becomes y to the 6. So I'm going to distribute to everything. 2 to the third, x to the 9, y6, z6, x to the 8, z to the 4. 2 to the third becomes 8, x9, x8, x17, y6, z to the 10. Here we go, number 19. 6 over 54 becomes, I can reduce that, 1 over 9. F to the negative 2, f to the negative, so I'm going to go ahead and change all of my negative numbers in which I see. G3, H5 stays. This F2 goes on top. G5 goes on top. H3 stays. G3, G5 becomes G8. H5, H3 subtract because they're on opposite levels. H2 my f squares cancel, and then my g5 stays. And I got 9 on bottom. Number 20. Negative 12 over 2 turns into negative 6 on top. I'm going to get rid of all my negative exponents. So t to the negative 1 goes on bottom, u5 stays, x4 goes on bottom, t to the third goes on top, u to the first stays, x to the 5 stays. So then this becomes, now I can subtract my exponents. That's u to the 4, t to the first goes on bottom, or sorry, t to the, sorry about that. T squared stays on top, and then x4, x5 becomes x9 on bottom. Number 21 would be r4 on top. Then I would have 3 to the third, r to the third. 3 to the third would be 27. So r4 over 27, r3. 4 minus 3 becomes 1, so r to the first over 27. Number 22. Number 22 would be, I need to distribute. M to the negative 2, m to the negative 5 stays for right now. M to the negative 4, m to the negative 3. Now I can change levels. M squared is on bottom, n5 is on bottom, m4 on top, n3 on top. Now I can subtract. My m squared is on top, my n is on bottom. Number 23, I distribute, so that'd be j to the positive 4, k to the negative 12, over j3, k3. Get rid of my negative exponents, so j4 stays, k12 on bottom, j3, k3 stays, j4, j3, that becomes j1 on top, k12, k3 becomes k15 on bottom. Next one, 2 to the negative 3, a to the positive 6, b to the negative 3, 5a squared, b to the 4. So 2 to the negative 3 would go on bottom, so that's 2 to the third. A to the 6 stays, b to the third goes on bottom. A squared stays on bottom, b to the 4 stays on bottom. So a6 minus a2, that'd be a4 on top. 2 to the third becomes 8. b3, b4 would be b7. I need to give this negative 5 to everything because this is big parentheses. Q to the positive 5, r to the negative 15, over q to the negative 5, r to the 10. Now I can switch levels on my negatives. Q to the 5, r15 goes on bottom, q5 goes on top, r10 stays on bottom. So I'd have q10 over r25. I need to distribute the negative 1 to everything, so that's 7 to the negative 1, c to the 3, d to the negative 3, over c to the negative 5, d to the negative 1, h to the positive 4. So that would be 7 to the 1 needs to go on bottom, c3 stays, d3 goes on bottom, c5 has to go on top, d negative 1 goes on top, h4 stays on bottom. So this becomes c to the 8. I have to subtract my d's, so d squared on bottom, h4 on bottom, 7 to the 1 becomes 7. I need to distribute the 27. So, or not the 27, the 2, so that'd be 2 to the negative 2, x to the negative 6, y to the negative 4, z to the negative 2, all over 3 to the negative 2, x to the negative 8, y to the negative 2, z to the 4. Now I need to switch my negatives. So 2 squared goes on bottom, x6, y4, z2. 3 squared goes on top, x8, y2 on top, z4 stays on bottom. So that gives me 9, x8, x6, so I subtract, that would be x squared. 2, 4, so the y squared stays on bottom. Z squared, z4 becomes z6 on bottom. 2 squared becomes 4. And we are done.